Yo, what is up guys, Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So Eddie Hearn has been talking this weekend in regards to a potential fight involving Chris Eubank Jr. And that fight is between Chris Eubank Jr. and Kell Brook. According to Eddie Hearn, he's reached out to Kalle Sauerland and he's spoken to Kalle Sauerland in regards to that fight. It's a fight that Eddie Hearn is interested in. Eddie Hearn actually said the following: I'm talking to Kalle Sauerland about doing something with Kell Brook and Eubank, and I just felt there's history there. He goes on to say, Kell took the Golovkin fight and they had some beef. I think Kell must move to 154 if he's to carry on. Eubank, of course, is at 160. It's just a random fight that I quite liked. Then Eubank came out in the media and said, that will be a good warm-up fight, a tune-up fight. Kell sort of responded, Hearn said. But yeah, according to Eddie Hearn, he's actually interested in making this fight. And I have to say, I'm in the same school of thought of Chris Eubank Jr. At this stage, Kell Brook is merely a tune-up fight and a warm-up fight for Chris Eubank Jr. Brook is just too far gone at this stage of his career. He's taken some bad losses, obviously to Golovkin, Spence and Crawford. His chin is deteriorating, in my opinion, and he's not the same fighter he once was. Brook is way past it. And also on top of that, you have to consider Chris Eubank Jr. is naturally the bigger guy, high work rate, aggressive, stronger, Chris Eubank Jr. at 30, 31, whatever he is, he's basically in his prime right now. And, Kell Brook should go nowhere near this fight because, again, he's just going to get hurt and get stopped again. I don't want to see Kell Brook fight again, especially in this sort of fight. If Chris Eubank Jr. wants a domestic fight, then look at somebody like Liam Smith. I think Liam Smith at this stage would actually be a better opponent than Kell Brook. And of course, if Liam Williams somehow beats Demetrius Andrade, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Liam Williams, there's other options out there other than Kell Brook. In my opinion, somebody needs to talk to Kell Brook and let him know, you're done, mate, and if you continue, you're going to get hurt, especially in this sort of fight, against the bigger, stronger, younger guy who throws more punches, who's more aggressive. This fight's a recipe for disaster for Kell Brook, and I've got no interest in seeing it whatsoever. I want to see Eubank Jr. try and forge out some sort of legacy, build some sort of resume, and a shot Kell Brook does not achieve that. He needs to be gunning for the other top guys in his division. Someone like Ryota Murata, that would be a great fight for Chris Eubank Jr. Maybe he could re-explore the Golovkin fight, the Jamal Charlo fight, the Andrade versus Williams winner. There's other fights out there for Chris Eubank Jr. And a Kell Brook fight to me is just a cynical cash grab, trying to squeeze what's left out of Kell Brook's depleting name value. That's all that fight is, a cash grab. Not interested whatsoever, to be honest. I want to see Eubank Jr. fight other guys in the division who are proven top 10 guys kind of thing. That's what I want to see from Chris Eubank Jr. And as for Kell Brook, like I said, if he's going to continue, which I don't want to see, it has to be at 154. The guy, in my opinion, does not belong at middleweight. And quite frankly, does he even belong in a ring anymore? Maybe not. Maybe not. To be honest with you, the only fight I wouldn't mind Kell Brook taking is the Amir Khan fight. Not that I really have any interest in that fight, because I wouldn't pay for it, put it that way. But, Amir Khan and Kell Brook are both at similar stages in their careers. Both have seen better days. Both have one foot out of the door. That's much more of a fair fight at this stage for both guys. And to me, that's really the only fight that makes sense for Kell Brook. Basically try and fight Amir Khan in a retirement fight and then bow out. That makes sense to me, but Chris Eubank Jr.? Come on, man, Kell's going to get beat up and we all know it. No interest whatsoever. But anyway, I digress. I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts. What do you think of this potential fight? Do you like it more than me? Or like me, do you believe this is a mismatch at this stage of Brook's career? Share your thoughts below, I'll be intrigued to know. Peace.